We've all seen videos that use a 360 camera, including a couple from me. But I wanted to take a deeper look at the quality of these images. But before we do that, we have to cover a few basics. Okay, I'm doing this on a rainy day. We're in the garage, showing you how I attach the Insta360 X4, there's the camera, to the bike. It's got the two fisheye lenses. One of the lenses is facing me, the rider, and the side that faces me is the side with the screen, so I can see what's happening. This is the selfie stick that comes with the camera. I didn't buy an extra stick, although you can do that if you wanted to. The selfie stick is attached at the bottom with a clamp to the engine guard. I got the engine guard for the sake of having an engine guard, not just for the camera, but it's a very handy feature to have. There's a second attachment point up here. Has a double claw on either end. One claw holds the selfie stick. The other claw is attached to an upper bar on the engine guard. This provides a very firm attachment to the bike. Even though the stick does wiggle, and you see that when you're riding, it's a point of concern, but it's been okay so far. And I do check that the attachments are as tight as I can get them without breaking them, of course. The only problem I had to worry about is clearing the left mirror when I go for a turn, which you check before you leave, of course. So that is the attachment to the bike. You can also change the angle of the selfie stick and have it come forward on the bike so that the camera is facing backward. I've done that before as well. But for the sake of this video, this is the arrangement that I had. Okay, I'm not making a how-to video on how to utilize the Insta360 X4. I'm not an expert on that. I know how to use it. I can get the basic shots that I want to get, but I'm not here to teach people how to use the camera. That's a process you have to go through on your own, just as I'm still going through it. The only thing I will say is that I do shoot 8K 30 frames per second. 8K sounds like a lot. It's actually higher than the GoPros, which I run at 5.7K. But they're really not the same way of measurement. The GoPro is 5.7K on a 16:9 rectangle on the image sensor. For a 360 camera, there are two sensors, two lenses. And instead of thinking of it as a 16:9 rectangle, you're actually recording the inside of a beach ball. That's basically it, recording 360 degrees all the way around the inside of a planet, the inside of a beach ball. And that whole surface is 8K. So if you zoom into a 16:9 section of that beach ball, your resolution is much less. So the fact that the camera records in 8K doesn't mean that all your images that you choose will be 8K. In fact, they will be quite a bit less. And that's the reason for this video. I wanted to see what the quality was of using just sections of that beach ball, which is what you want. You want just 16:9 sections to tell your story. The other thing I do use voice commands for the X4. I have it attached by Bluetooth to my helmet's headset, so I can tell it to start or stop as necessary. That way I don't have to reach out while I'm riding to do a few things. It's not flawless. There's sometimes the noise is so great that it won't pick up my voice command. And there's been times where it just stopped working altogether and I haven't figured out why that is yet. But we need to get back to the riding video so I can show why I am pleased with the results of using the Insta360 X4. On this first clip, I'm using a medium shot. I'm not zoomed in too tight and I'm not zoomed out too much. and I kept the horizon level. That's the choice I made. The camera is recording an entire inside of the beach ball. This is the angle I chose. You can see the inherent distortion of the lens, the fisheye lens, particularly in the exaggerated perspective. As the cars on the other side of the lane there pass me by, it looks as though they're going double, triple, 4 times the regular speed. There will be more cars here. I'm actually riding between 45 and 50 miles an hour, and I assume that the cars are as well. But the exaggerated perspective makes them look like they're going much faster. I don't see that as a problem. I see this as a very acceptable image. Now there we just had a transition. It looks as though I had 2 cameras on the bike, one facing forward, one facing backward. Not true, it's just the one camera. I took that video clip, divided it into 2 segments, and assigned a different point of view to each of the segments. Now that's powerful. Coming up is another example of the exaggerated perspective. This section of the road has berms on both sides of the road that are fairly tall. And as soon as the road straightens out, you get the effect of going through a time tunnel or down a wormhole of some sort. It's an exaggerated perspective that I actually enjoy. I think that the gold standard for forward-facing videos is still a chest-mounted or chin-mounted camera. There's no question about that. But a 360 camera mounted on the side of the bike provides a very acceptable alternative. This was taken on the same ride, but a different road. What I wanted to check out here was, what was the image like when I zoomed in a little bit tighter? I filled the frame up with the rider, which is myself, which is something you would typically do in a motorcycle video anyway. Now I can see that there's a loss of detail or a lack of detail. It's the very nature of recording with this kind of a camera. The question is it still acceptable? And I think that it is. We're not doing brain surgery here and showing really crisp details. We're just telling a story about motorcycle riding. I think the quality is fine. Now I even have the sharpness turned up quite a bit on this to try to compensate, but there's only so much you can do. You cannot create details when there weren't any to begin with. Is it acceptable, even in this new point of view? I say absolutely yes. It's good enough for motorcycle videos. Now what about you? Do you have any questions or comments or agreements or disagreements? Please put them in the comment section below. If you do record with a 360 camera, do you have any tips or suggestions or something you want to tell us about? Something we could learn from? As always, thank you for watching, and stay well.